Morning, guys. William Agnew here. I just wanted to say good morning Monday morning. I want to tell you about my Saturday. So I used to go to school with a fella. His name is Montoya Smith. He's a good fella. He was a little older than me. They called him Smitty in high school. I remember that because we ran track together. He was a little older than me, so the upperclassmen didn't really converse with the lower classmen too much. So we weren't really that close in school, but we knew of each other because we had mutual friends. But he is a good fella. I've been checking out his show. It's called A Mental Dialogue. His name now is Black Socrates. So AKA also known as Black Socrates, but he's got a great show. He's got a platform. It is a platform that disseminates information, awareness in the Black community. It's great. He actually invited me to be on the show, and so I was on the show on Saturday and gave my perspective. The topic of the show was Colin Kaepernick and Nike, right? And he actually played a cut that I did, the last cut that I did about balance in regards to Nike and Colin Kaepernick. So I just wanted to say shout out to him for building the platform, for doing what it takes, because I know what it takes to build a platform. Platforms are not easy to build, especially if you're not monetizing in a way that people are paying you for your time and your effort, right? That's hard to do. It's hard to get that going. It takes work, it takes sacrifice, it takes money, it takes time, it takes all of those resources that a lot of people aren't willing to give to build a platform, which is, in my opinion, is the biggest lack in the Black community, is lack of platform, is lack of a system or infrastructure to bring awareness to certain social issues like this, right? And I think the biggest thing that people are upset about with the Colin Kaepernick situation is the platform that he used, right? Which I don't see a problem with, because every time we build a platform, it either gets one or two things. It gets co-opted, it gets bought out, and it gets changed to something different, if it's good. And then if it's really good and it can move product, which is why they buy it in the first place, such as BET. If you guys remember BET used to be like that. BET was a wonderful platform, right? It used to have the awareness campaigns, wrap it up, go get yourself checked. It used to, have, messages in the shows. It used to always end with a great message. And then, Bob Johnson sold it to white people. They changed it to 106 in Park 24/7. And I don't even have to say anymore. So you guys know what I'm saying. So platforms like that get purchased, bought up, message gets changed. Or, you start a platform like BLM and it gets turned into a terrorist group, or, or some kind of racist hate group, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm fair across the board. Like, I believe that you should support your community. I see it all the time. I see Indians, I see Asians, I see white folks. I see people do it all the time, where they have these little micro infrastructures within their community, and it supports who they are. It supports their community. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, just like sports, just like in sports, it's relative to Colin Kaepernick. It's just like sports. Every team has a culture, and every team has the ability to practice and strategize to win. Right? That's just what it is. That is what America is, right? If you think it's anything different, when you get out here in this world, it's competitive. It's competitive the same. People strategize, people plot, people plan to win. That's what capitalism is, right? That's what it is. And people sell and people market and they do all of this stuff. So to think, I have this problem with thinking that, it's wrong to do that when that's how the system and society is already set up. Right? So there's nothing wrong with that. The problem comes when people start to manipulate, when they manipulate the system, right, to keep other people down. So when they start to label things, when they start to buy things out and change the message, when they start to deflate the football so they can grip it and throw it better, that's changing the rules of the game. That's manipulating the rules to win. Then there's a problem. Right? When you start putting guns in the neighborhood, diseases in the neighborhood, you start putting drugs in the neighborhood, right? That's manipulating the system. That's the kind of stuff that I don't take too light to, and I don't really appreciate, and it is not good, and it is evil, to say the least, right? When you start manipulating the people so they don't have a competitive advantage, or there's an unfair advantage to you, that is when we have a problem. And so, the thing we don't have is the platform. So again, I want to commend Mr. Smith, Montoya Smith, aka Black Socrates, the Mental Dialogue Show, for taking the time and the effort and the blood, the sweat, the tears, the resources, all the things that it takes to build a platform. A platform is front end heavy in terms of required resources to make it go and make it work. Not only do you have to build it and take time to build it, but then you have to market it. You have to get people to come. You have to get people to digest that information, right? And you're doing all of that free of charge, right? They're not paying you. You might be getting some ad revenue, but for the most part, it's not a very lucrative business or lucrative deal until you get, until you maximize, right? You get economies of scale, right? So with that being said, I just want to say congratulations, bro. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it on a Saturday. For all of you guys that are interested, go check it out. Again, it's called The Mental Dialogue, and it is a dope show, right? Because it brings awareness. It's a platform. It's what we need. We need to teach people, right? We need to have micro. See, the problem is when you got macro platforms, they're very easily broken into and turned into something that they're not necessarily are, and they get demonized, right? When you have micro platforms, which all of these people do, right? All of these people do. All of these cultures do. Trust me when I tell you, all of these cultures have micro platforms. They all do. They all have micro infrastructures where they support who they are and what they do. Trust when I tell you. And us as black folks, we need to understand and have more of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love white people. I love black people. I love Asian people. I love everybody. But I also understand that we live in a world where you have to have a competitive voice. You have to have a voice for your community and who you are. And that voice can only be heard if you stand upon a platform. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of times there's social issues and there are things that you have to speak out against that you don't necessarily agree with. And the only way to do that is to have a platform to speak from. That's it, right? And if you lack that, then you lack voice in the community or the system. Does that make sense? So I love you guys. Check out the show. Good morning. William Agnew. Peace. Love you guys.